I know for anyone who was ever on American Idol, the fact that you get to do music 2 years into a career is a big deal. And now 11 years into this career, I'm still getting to do music, do what I love, and support my family through it. I'm really grateful. It's been a crazy ride. There have been a lot of ups and downs, but yeah, really, really enjoying the ride.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Paula Faris Show. I am your host, Paula Faris. So glad that you are here, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite audio platform. So last week's guest, Rutledge Wood, hit it out of the park. He is the host of the very popular show, The Floor is Lava, a show that America is obsessed with. And in sticking with that theme, shows that America is obsessed with, I thought I would introduce this week's guest, who was a contestant not once, but twice on American Idol. We are talking with Colton Dixon, singer-songwriter and father of twin girls. And if you have experienced setback of any kind or loss, I know I have talked openly about losing my job at ABC about 3 years ago. I think you're really going to find yourself in this conversation because Colton was dropped by his label out of the blue, didn't see it coming, wasn't sure if he should stay in music, said he had no backup plan. So without further ado, here's Colton Dixon on Millennial Dad's American Idol, and that one time he forgot the lyrics to the national anthem. Colton Dixon, it's so nice to finally meet you.
Very nice to meet you as well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So before we really dig into your big break and talk about how you got there, I first want to ask about parenthood, because you became a father of identical twin girls in 2020. And I read an article not that long ago that said millennial dads. You're a millennial, right? You're like early 30s. Millennial dads are like 3 times more involved with their kids than, no knock on the other dads, than their dads were. Like, you're changing diapers, you're in the thick of it. Like, what kind of a dad are you? And I want to say kudos to all of you millennial dads out there.
Holding down the fort. Let's go. Yeah, it's funny. My wife and I were just talking about this very same thing as well. My dad was actually pretty hands-on growing up. But you're right. I think a lot of younger dads have really rose up to the occasion and gotten their hands dirty, quite literally, in some ways. But we love it. We love being parents to twins. They're the sweetest ever. We actually just had a crazy travel day last night, got in at like 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Long story, but they're troopers.
And you're here.
And we're here. Yeah, yes. We did it. So which is good. I'm glad we made this happen. But
how old are they now? They're and their names are I wrote this down. Athens and Ava. Was that right?
Yes.
Beautiful names.
So we go by Ava's middle name, which is Dior, which is even just a little extra special sauce there. But they're 3 now, which is crazy. So it is fun times. It's fun house.
Are you out of the diaper changing phase again? That report that I mentioned earlier, well, millennial dads more involved than their dads were, tripling the time they're spending with their children than their fathers did. But the stats back in the day, like 43% of dads in the 80s said they'd never changed a diaper. Only 3% of dads say that now. So are you still changing diapers like 3 years old? Are you guys like potty training? Where are you?
Yeah, they're so close. Like, they know. Like, every once in a while, they'll go be like, all right, it's time to go potty. And we're like, on the big girl potty, and they're like, you're like, okay. So we walk them in the bathroom and they do great, Yeah,
that's amazing.
But we're not quite there yet. So we're really close. I really envy the dads who said they never changed a diaper. It sounds kind of nice. But you know what? Like, they were my first set of diapers, and it was kind of intimidating at first, but it's kind of
intimidating for everybody, now, for moms too. Like, changing the diaper on my little doll when I was young, that's totally different than actually changing a human being's diaper. Totally, especially little girls.
I never did the changing on a doll, but yeah, on kiddos, it is quite a thing for sure. Yeah. So kudos to everyone who's ever had to change a diaper.
Yes. And kudos to dads, like these millennial dads like you, for stepping up to the plate. And like, really, I think parenting is at its best when it's a team sport.
Agreed.
When both parents are raising the kid in all aspects. So, okay, you had the girls, they're identical twins, by the way, like, back in 2020, and one of them was born without a pulse.
Yeah, very scary. Not the way you want to meet your kid for the first time.
No.
Definitely. Annie, my wife, had a great pregnancy and went into labor a week past her due date with twins, which is kind of like crazy, if you know about all that stuff. And so
wow,
she
a
did
week.
great.
Wait. She went a week past her due date with twins.
Yes. Yeah. Twins are
Holy
normally very
uncomfortable.
early, but she was a rock star, just killed it. But the labor took a little longer than we had hoped. So we had to punt to a C-section. And long story short, little Dior came out not breathing because she had started that birthing process and her body didn't know how to handle being in the birth canal for so long. So she came out very scary. We grew up in church, so we chose to believe that God knew what he was up to. And man, we're so thankful that we have a happy, healthy little girl. And we have two of them, and you'd never know that she went through that little trauma period for about a week. And yeah, we're blessed for sure. Yeah.
Yes, and now you're 3 years in, and you're a good dad. Just want to say that. And
You.
I know life has completely changed for you because that's what happens when you're a parent. By the way, I never asked you, I'm wearing a Def Leppard shirt right now. Like
You
I am
are,
a
and
child.
I
I
love
was born in the 70s, and I'm like, I love Def Leppard and, Guns N' Roses. And I'm thinking, am I going to offend him like wearing somebody
it.
else's?
No, not
Okay,
at
I
all.
just
Are
want to
you
make
kidding
sure.
me? It's amazing. I love it.
Okay,
I'll
cool.
rock up a good band tee from time to time as well.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's dig into like your big break. Obviously, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would imagine that it was American Idol. So I know you grew up singing. You grew up in the church. You were a musician at a young age. But how old were you when this big break happened? You went on American Idol twice. So tell us about how the big break happened the very first time, and then kind of the second time because you went on there twice.
Yeah, you got it. Crazy story. So I was fresh out of high school when my sister and sister's name is Skylar. We had both
Mm-hmm.
auditioned for American Idol the first time. They came to Nashville, came to the big arena called Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. And I actually wasn't planning on auditioning the first time, but while we were outside, my sister kind of convinced me. She's like, "What's the worst they could say? No, you're a great
Yeah.
singer. Just
Uh
sing."
huh.
So we did. We both made it to Hollywood. Hollywood is not for the faint of heart. It is one of the craziest things I've ever been a part of. It's like boot camp for singers.
Uh huh.
She got cut during Hollywood Week, which was so sad. And I got cut just before the live shows. So that was kind of the season one quick recap. And then I thought, okay, I'm done. Great experience. Never
Totally.
want to do that again because it was a tough thing to go through. And I thought, okay, I'm going to take what the opportunity's given me and work on that. But my sister wanted to go back again for a second year. So we're like, all right, cool. We'll root you on from the sidelines. This is all you this time. But I'll be there when you get your golden ticket. So we were
So
waiting
you weren't
outside.
planning to even audition this time around. You were like, I'm
Not
just
at
going to
all.
support you, Skylar. Okay.
That's right. That's right. And we went, I forget what city we went to support her. And we were waiting outside, my parents and I, with Ryan Seacrest, the whole thing. And not a couple minutes before, after she walked in the room, she poked her head back out and she said, "Hey, the judges want to see you as well." And I just remember thinking, oh, that's really weird. I'm like, I don't know, maybe they just wanted to reconnect real quick and have me in there when she sings. So walked in and it was immediate guilt trip on why I wasn't auditioning. And I'm thinking like, oh no, this is my sister's time. Like this is her
Mm,
moment. I do not want to crash this moment. As flattered as I am, do not want to crash the moment. So they finally were like, all right, you stand over here and figure out what you want to sing. Skylar, you audition. And I'm just over there sweating bullets. She finishes singing, does a great job. And then she looks at me and she's like, what are you going to sing? And I'm like, okay, all right. I guess that's the green light. I guess I'm
she
okay.
gave you her blessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I sang. We both made it to Hollywood again. She made it to where I did the season previous, got cut just before the live shows, which was devastating. And that was the year that I went on to do the top 10 and the tour and all the fun stuff. But it was a crazy, crazy ride.
So your big break is American Idol. You're 20
Yeah.
years old. Doors start flying wide open. You're on Leno, you're on Live with Kelly, you're on a myriad of shows performing, and it looks like the sky is the limit. Who do you really credit? Yes, I mean, if your sister hadn't given you permission in that moment, but what do you credit your big break to? Some people will say it was hard work and hustle. Some people will say it was being in the right place at the right time. Like, what do you credit your big break to?
Oh my goodness. I think it's a combination of all the above. I would also give credit to the people around me who supported me. My parents, probably being at the top of that list. My parents were always driving my sister and I to shows or to band practice, or they were just really supportive parents. I'm so thankful for that. I know that's not everyone's story, but yeah, it takes a lot of work to make it in any industry, really, and to thrive there. Man, I want to say someone that I look up to in the music industry is a guy named Ryan Tedder, who's written a lot of songs, and it's in a band called One Republic. But he said to make a hobby a profession, you need like 10,000 hours of practice, and in that, whatever that is, in your space. And I would say it's at least that. I mean, it's an all or nothing scenario. Especially with music, there's no plan B. There's no backup option. So I'm thankful that, again, my parents instilled that hard work in me, but that they supported me. My sister, for allowing me to totally crash her audition.
Yeah, you're crediting people, you're crediting the hard work, the hustle. I wanted to ask you a bunch of viewer questions at the very end, but one of them ties in so much to this right now, and it's about your sister, Skylar. And then we'll go back to our conversation, and I'll ask some more questions later.
Great.
Bubba's mom, 44. And by the way, y'all, when I'm soliciting these questions, you can give me your name so I don't have to read these weird handles like Bubba's mom 44. But Bubba's mom 44 says, "How is your sister, Skylar? I remember her from American Idol, and I wonder how her music is." So can you give Bubba's mom and everybody an update on Skylar?
Yeah, what's up, Bubba's mom? I kind of love the handle, honestly. I think it's great.
I mean, nothing wrong with it, but like, I'd like to know your name, right?
Sure, totally, yeah. My sister's doing amazing. She's got music on the horizon. You know, my sister is so funny. She is so talented. I feel like music has come and gone in waves with her. Like she'll dive in on a project and she'll finish it. It's amazing. But then she's like, all right, I'm going to do something else over here. Like I'm going to refinish furniture and sell it. Or, you know, she's just always doing something. She's got some country music on the horizon, and it is incredible.
Country
so excited
music?
for it to be out. Country music, yep.
Ooh,
And it is so good.
I love that.
So be on the lookout.
We will be on the lookout. I want to take a little bit of a turn. So like things are happening. As I just mentioned, you're on Leno, you're on Ellen, you're on Live with Kelly. Like you signed with a label. Things are going great. And then in 2019, your label drops you.
Yeah.
Right? So that must have been a really challenging time. Like, do I continue with music? I know when I lost my job back in 2020, I felt a little lost. So when your label dropped you, how did you work through that?
Yeah. For context, I guess, when you get dropped by your record label, it's kind of like your security blanket. It feels like you lose your job, although we were still playing shows, but that took us right into 2020, so we weren't playing shows. It was a very trying time in my life. I'm thankful for my wife. She really kept my feet on the ground and kept my head looking, out on the horizon instead of the mess that was right in front of me. And again, church kid, but there just comes a time, I think, where you have to choose that tomorrow's going to be a good day. Even if today sucks, you just have to know that tomorrow's going to be new and at least a new opportunity for something better to happen. And we chose to believe again that that tomorrow was going to be good and that it was going to be okay. And so several months went by. I questioned music. I questioned, do I need to get a 9-to-5? Do I need to figure something else out? Again, no backup plan, no plan B for this musician. So that was terrifying to me. But I knew deep inside that there was still some story to tell on the music side. And I was grateful for that. But we hunkered down and kept pursuing. And then honestly, the record deal of my dreams came to the table. Still can't believe that I'm on this label. but Atlantic Records showed interest, and some of my favorite artists are on Atlantic. Ed Sheeran, Coldplay, just huge artists.
Coldplay?
Coldplay.
I know you performed Coldplay during one of your American Idol. I am obsessed with Coldplay. I've been to a couple of concerts.
Man, I went to their concert for the first time last year and I wept. It was amazing.
It's like a spiritual experience.
It is. I would say, tell everybody.
Coldplay and U2, they're very emotional and spiritual connections and experiences. It's hard to describe. You just got to go.
It blows my mind that I share a label with those guys. But sometimes, like, before the big break comes, right? Like, you're in the valley, you're in the trenches. Things are not looking up, but that's the moment where you get the perspective, I think. So when the break does come, you can appreciate it for what it is. And man, it's just been an amazing couple years with Atlantic. I'm so grateful that I get to keep doing music. I know for anyone who was ever on American Idol, the fact that you get to do music 2 years into a career is a big deal.
Right.
And now 11 years into this career, I'm still getting to do music, do what I love, and support my family through it. I'm really grateful. It's been a crazy ride. There have been a lot of ups and downs, but yeah, really, really enjoying the ride.
What do you tell the person that maybe had that big break and something tragic or painful happened, but maybe what do you tell the person that's in that valley right now and they don't know what their next step is? Like you, do I stay in music? Is this a sign that I'm supposed to leave music? What could you tell them? How could you encourage them?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we're led by our emotion. Sometimes that can be great, you can let your heart lead, but other times I think it gets in the way of what the facts are. And sometimes the facts are you're really good at what you do. You just heard a no, or you just heard something that was discouraging.
Yeah.
I also think, like, to me, like, the big break is the big opportunity. It's not necessarily the hardship that you're going through. I think the hardship is the prerequisite for the big break. So if you're going through, the thick of it right now, if you're hitting the rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. So look for what the opportunity is that's coming, because something's coming. Something's stirring up. You just got to keep your eyes open to see it.
That's awesome. So maybe the big break wasn't just American Idol. It was losing your label and getting picked up by your dream label.
Absolutely. I think that played a huge part into where I am right now.
Yeah. That's awesome. I imagine it was hard to go through that. And how did you determine, you said, I'm good at this, so I should continue doing it. I shouldn't just let this one resounding no determine my next steps. But you're also, were you guys expecting at the time, this is 2019, you have your twins in 2020, you lose your label, you're expecting twins. Like, how did you decide I'm going to stay in music and keep doing it? And then it's Atlantic, right? That showed up?
Yes.
They showed up? Or were you still trying to figure it out and they showed up? Like, did you have to take that step of faith out and say, I'm committed to this, even though I don't know what the next chapter looks like. And then they came in. Tell us how it all happened.
Yeah. If I'm honest, it was kind of a combination of both.
Okay.
We vocally, my wife and I had decided, like, no, this is still the thing. But internally in me, I'm still like, but what if it isn't? But what if? But I'm so again so grateful that it's still a thing. We weren't quite expecting yet during that process. I'm so glad that might have brought a different outcome. It would have added pressure to knowing I had the support from my family. However, something I just think is so cool and is so what us church kids call God's perfect timing is that I walked through that season of losing my job, not knowing what the future looked like, being in a really tough spot as a person, and got to write a bunch of songs out of that place. And then we get to release those songs in April of 2020, a month into lockdown, where the world is literally going through losing their job, not knowing what the future looked like, not knowing if the thing that they loved is ever going to come back to them. It was wild, but man, we were already prepping for that EP to come out, earlier that year before we knew COVID was ever a thing. But whenever I heard that was a thing, it lit a fire under us. It was like, oh my gosh, we have to get this out as soon as possible. People need to hear these songs, because they're firsthand, experience of me walking through not quite a global pandemic, but a very personal epidemic, if you will, trying to figure out what was next for me.
Yeah. It's
So,
not always like a big break and then smooth sailing. There's like
right.
actual breaks in the midst of that too, where
For
you're like
sure.
molded. But now look what it's led to. You're, this label that you couldn't have dreamed of joining. You have your breakout hit, I would say, like your most successful song, Build a Boat, spent 10
Yeah.
weeks at #1. It was nominated for a Dove Award Song of the Year. And as our recording this, we don't know if it's been nominated for a Grammy, but it might be. So you might want to buy some Grammy clothes and get a really cool hairstyle, although you have a cool hairstyle right now.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet. This is the first time I have even thought of Boat possibly being up for a Grammy, and that doesn't even compute with my brain.
Yeah. Does not compute.
I know. I'm just malfunctioning over here. That's wild. Yeah. Wild.
It's so cool what can come out of hardship, right? Like for me, lost my job, but then I decided to form a company to champion and advocate for working moms. And like, I wouldn't have had the courage to do that, or even the vision had I not been pushed onto that path. So this song, Build a Boat, and you did an incredible duet with fellow Idol alum, Gabby Barrett. That is just fire.
She is a monster, just such a great singer, such a sweetheart as well. Her and her husband, Cade. What's funny is my wife and I watched both of them on American Idol. They were both contestants in the top 10 and got married. It's so cool. They're just sweethearts, and so grateful that she jumped on the song. And, we reached out to her thinking she would be a great fit. And we were kind of shooting for the stars, honestly. She reached back and she's like, "Oh my gosh, the song's already on my playlist. I would love to."
Really?
I'm like, you're kidding. It's
and
amazing.
I heard she's now performing it on her own tour. So that's incredible. What a testament.
It blows my mind. But I love that. I love that
great.
she has just really taken a hold of the song as her own and feels comfortable to perform it. I just love that people are hearing that message, which so plays into what this show is all about, which is like believing in whatever it is before you can see it, and stepping out and doing whatever it is you need to do to get there. So
I appreciate how you just kind of own your own unique brand and style. Had a lot of questions from people about the mohawk that you had on American Idol initially.
Sure.
Like when you look back at some of those pictures, or you're like, that was awesome, or like that was a tragic hair moment in my life.
There were some that were better than others, but man, there's one. Well, there's a couple in particular. I tried the man bun thing for a while, and man, bless my heart, did not turn out well for anyone. But there was a season, around the season I proposed to my wife. We have these amazing pictures of us at Disney World, which is where I proposed to my wife. And it's just stunning. The castle's in the background, the whole thing. But my hair makes me look like a real life troll doll. It is so tall. It is so tall, and it's just completely, disconnected. It's just skin all the way up until it's just, and it's just like, man. And of course, I look at my wife. I'm like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And she's just like, "We tried, sweetheart. We tried."
You're like, you should have saved me.
You probably did.
You got to save me from myself. That one moment, like the most romantic moment, you're proposing and you have troll hair.
Yeah, big time.
It's all good.
You can't win them all.
You can't. Speaking of winning, though, you are going to be singing the national anthem in October for the Super Bowl winning champion Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be a moment. Yeah, none at all.
Man, can't believe I'm about to say this. I think singing the national anthem, it's one of my least favorite songs to sing. I know that's so un-American. It's a beautiful song. I'm not saying it's my least favorite song. There's so much pressure surrounding this song. And I unfortunately had to kind of walk through the dread and horror of forgetting the lyrics while singing the national anthem. My high school, which wasn't a big high school, but they had just built a new basketball gym. First game in the gym, I was a senior. They asked me to sing the national anthem. I was kind of like known as the choir kid, I guess. So I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. I get in there, and "O'er the Ramparts" just runs out of my brain. No idea what's coming next. I look at my teacher who's running the scoreboard and announcing, and I look at him, I go, I'm lost. I have no idea.
I'm blanking.
Out of the microphone, of course. And he looks at me, he goes, he's like, or the ramparts. So to try and lighten the mood, I look at the audience and I say, or the ramparts. And keep singing.
Amazing.
So in Jesus' name, I am not going to forget the lyrics.
No, you won't. You know what you're going to do? You're going to visualize the experience. This always helps to get you, like if you get psyched out about something and you're like, all I can think about is failing, you take some time and you actually like in a quiet place and you're visualizing the experience. You're going through everything. You can like what the air smells like. You can see everybody in the stands.
That's
what does
good.
it sound like? What does the turf feel like under my feet? What's it going to feel like when I step up on that podium? And all you do is you visualize the success of the moment, but you're in
That's
it, like
good.
all
Let's
of your
go.
senses. My husband's a basketball coach, so we're like, he's big into visual, and you have to visualize positivity happening. So we are believing that you're going to nail it. Or the ramparts. We are going to nail it all. You're going to nail it. Okay. Well, we're pulling for you. Okay. Let's wrap this up. Colton, you have been an absolute delight. It's been so great to get to know you. And I know our audience is going to love you even more. So a couple more questions. You heard the one earlier from Bubba's mom that wanted to know about your sister. And we answered that. Lily Clarkson. And I'm excited to ask you this. She is a high schooler. She's good friends with my daughter.
Oh,
and
no way.
she wants to know what your favorite song of yours is. What is your favorite song that you've performed of your own? Who's your favorite child is what we're asking you, essentially.
Honestly, yeah, songs are kind of like kids. Someone had a great answer for this. I was on tour with a band called Third Day, and their singer was like, man, that's hard. Songs are like kids. Like every once in a while you have an ugly one, but you love them all the same. And I died. It was great.
That's so good.
Honestly, it's a brand new song. It's the title track to my EP. I'm not just saying this. I think it embodies what I want to do, what I want to say. It's a song called Canvas. It's one of the first songs that I've produced, had a lot of help, but produced a lot on my own. It basically it's a piano ballad, and it kind of talks about being a blank canvas and taking life as it comes, the ups and the downs. It's what makes it beautiful. And, man, I just, if you haven't heard it, go check it out. It means a lot to me. And it's probably my favorite.
Awesome. Lou wants to know, can you do a show in Brooklyn? Can you do a show in Brooklyn?
I'm not even going to try to do a New York accent. I would love to. I love New York. I love Brooklyn. That would be amazing. We don't get up there near often enough.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever played in Brooklyn.
What?
We'll have to remedy that. I know.
Yes.
We've been kind of around the area, but never in Brooklyn. Let's make it happen.
Yes. Atlantic can make that happen.
Yes.
And the last question, this is funny. Amy Sprunger wants to know, what was the weird outfit that you wore for Winter Jam 2022? It looked like a life-saving vest. I don't know what she's talking about, but literally she reached out to me and she's like, I've been dying to know this. So do you remember?
Gosh. This makes me so happy. There's this very kind of left of center clothing brand. I don't even remember the name of their clothes, but it's like they make costumes for like Star Trek and like random stuff, right?
Oh, wow.
I was in this store in Los Angeles, of course, and they carried this brand, and they're like parachute straps without the backpack and the parachute. And I'm like, those are really just cool. I don't know where I'm going to wear these, but I like them. So I snagged them. And then later we did a music video for my song Miracles, in which I'm wearing a parachute backpack. We made it look like I jumped out of a plane, but I'm chicken and I didn't actually do it.
Okay.
And so for this tour called Winter Jam, Miracles was the big song. And so I remembered these parachute straps. I'm like, hey, maybe that'll tie people into the whole music video thing. Apparently Lou hasn't seen the music video, so.
Yes, she's got tons of questions about that. I'll say, Amy, watch the video. It'll
Amy. Sorry,
it's
Amy.
all right. Lou,
Amy, go
Lou
watch the
was
video.
Brooklyn. Lou
you're
wants,
right. You're right.
I'm
Sorry,
sure Lou wants to know
Amy.
too. That's hilarious, though. Okay, good to know. We can finally, she can finally sleep at night and rest, knowing the point of the life-saving jacket, which was actually a parachute without the parachute. Parachute backpack.
Close. Just,
awesome.
Without the water.
All right, Colton, we are pulling for you for the
you.
game and just for everything that's going on. And I just want to say you're a good dad, and thanks for being a great role model, and really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show.
Thank you so much, Paula, for having me. It's a pleasure getting to talk with you.
It was awesome talking about it. See what we just did there? Let's talk about it.
Love it. Well played.
Love it. So I'm really happy to report, you guys, that he nailed the national anthem when he sang at the Chiefs game earlier this year. He hit every beat and every lyric, and I have a link to it in the show notes if you want to check out the performance. But so excited because we are going to be wrapping up 2023 with a very special episode featuring my husband, John. You can ask us anything you want about kids, career, relationships. We are going to be talking about it. That's coming up in 2 weeks. But in the meantime, next week, it's a conversation that's only happening because of one of you. Cannot wait to share how it all happened to get the longtime host of Big Brother, Julie Chen Moonves, on the show. She's talking about parenting through crisis and the major life change that she didn't see coming. That's next week on the Paula Faris Show as we talk about it. Thanks for joining, everybody. Oh, one more thing. Is this still on? Yeah, it is. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit that subscription button, or wherever you're listening, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss a beat, and invite your friends. Let's spread the word and let's talk about it.